William and Kate defeated the Montessori duo with a decisive victory which infuriated Meghan and Harry. Welcome back to our LVT News channel and hello. I can only picture the joyous scenes at Kensington Palace that took place behind closed doors. Jacinta Ardern, the current monarch of the modern age, had just chosen a side in the acrimonious war of the Windsors. In spite of all the odds and a fierce moose campaign from the Montessori whiners, William and Kate defeated Harry and Meghan to win this coveted endorsement. Ardern proudly announced she was joining the board of the Prince of Wales' renounced Earthshot Prize the same week she resigned as an MP in the New Zealand Parliament, leaving the nation more divided than ever in its history. Ardern's lifelong dedication to sustainable development in climate action was lauded by William, who even gushed that he was glad she had accepted the position. "I am incredibly glad that she is working with us as she advances in her profession," he continued. It suddenly made sense as to why Ardern had publicly reacted negatively to being featured in Harry and Meghan's Netflix docu-series Live to Lead last year, claiming she was unaware of the Sussex involvement when she initially consented to be interviewed. With the Obamas and even Oprah Winfrey publicly distancing themselves from Harry and Meghan's obsessive crusade against their own families, their treatment by Ardern in favor of Wills and Kate is a substantial deepening of the test presently attached to them. What would their current situation be if they had not participated in the Oprah interview, migrated to America and remained silent about their time as working royals? They would undoubtedly not be subjected to the same level of ridicule and ostracism. But instead presenting their versions of events was prioritized over all else, alienating the majority in the process. They chose a battle they can never win because their chosen adversaries largely disregard them in public and keep their innermost thoughts to themselves. You just come out as a bully if you try to beat the heck out of someone who isn't going to fight. This is what occurs when one allows rage and ego to take precedence over reason. They ought to have at the very least decided against conducting their own interview after watching Andrew's disastrous one. He feeds her ego while she feeds his rage. Thus I'm afraid this is how it had to finish, since they, like Andrew, are too conceited to take any sane advice. The fact that this so-called champion of women's rights does so while clinging to and possibly by virtue of her husband's rank is what I find interesting. Others would claim that she is supporting this option. I find it intriguing, as I mentioned. And how does a cable TV actress land a puff piece with a glorious diner who was a husband? And another award. My American acquaintances claim that this woman was formerly a CIA agent and, based on all indications, still is. Free videos of the younger Glow explaining this are available online. Gloria is accused of being a violent and divisive individual who hides behind her support for women's. Anyone come to mind? Why are they forcing this retiree of over 90 years old out of retirement? Because of her ignorance and selfishness and money. Marco is dangerous. She was an easy target to manage and handle because of these Achilles heels, like with other Trojan horses. When you're finished with them, what else will you have to use as blackmail? In the past, when homosexuality was prohibited, it was usually sexual activity on drug use. Markle and her dummy have not demonstrated any loyalty to the British monarchy or its American version. The highest offender will get them. Wallace Simpson set up the meeting with Hitler in the belief that he would crown them as king and queen after winning the war, killing both the narcissist. The American Wallace was placed to sow discord between the Britain and the U.S. Naturally, there will always be traitors. All of these accolades served to reinforce Markle's image as being whiter than white, pun intended, and to suggest that the general public is uninformed about its own past. Additionally, the public and the monarchy have been subjected to ongoing gaslighting through paid-for and sympathetic puff pieces on Marco. All of this rhetoric about princes, princesses, and tiara serves as a cover for the true purpose, which is to incite anger over the question why doesn't the weak monarch do something when you are incredibly lethargic? You think no one will catch you in your lies and dishonesty. The only thing about Meghan Markle that is real is that she is a fraud. I tend to concur that it is simply too late for her and her husband. They have spent an alarmingly large sum of money trying to escape their self-inflicted collapse, but nothing had succeeded. I am a YouTuber, not a PR professional, but it doesn't take one to understand that the best course of action for this pair would have been to vanish for a bit so that people could forget the things they did and the reasons why he comes out as a cuckold and she is not very likable. It wasn't difficult to figure out that Oprah wasn't a good idea because previous royal family interviews have gone well for the participants. Whether you are telling the truth or not, Charles, Diana and Andrew all offered Harry specific examples of how those interviews are harmful. If you look at the substance of Spare, you'll see that it hasn't really sunk in despite the fact that Harry doesn't mention that interview in the book. Even though South Park is a cartoon being the person or the people, the show is ridiculous has been terrible. It was said that Markle was upset about it. She isn't naive. She is aware that Chris Rock and others are cruelly making fun of her and Harry making her into a laughingstock. No one learns about the honor she receives and decides to modify their opinion of her since she is so nice and giving. Due to her dismissal, her awards are no longer valid. These honors, according to one analyst, were a genuine feather in Markle's cap. Unfortunately, the blinding laughter tears obscures the father. There was a broad conspiracy at work. She was indeed looking for gold. Even Sugar Daddy was fine. It wasn't necessarily a royal. She just cared about name recognition, celebrity and money. She received more money than she had requested. Everything was planned. In essence, it was a game that was played all over the world. She was only there for usage. She was the lure he gave in. She entered the theater in this manner to perform a play on behalf of the people who had pushed her to criticize the crown. The plan involved that American interviewer. She got off the sinking ship because she didn't get the required miles. Smart woman. The opposition to the royals believed that having a vested stake would benefit both them and Meg. Hollywood, a man with a million brains, was able to comprehend the scheme because he only intended to smuggle some garbage in a skull as heavy as a boulder and the camouflage were hiding across oceans. Indeed, coronation will undoubtedly reveal a variety of tales for US to incorporate into the story of the sailing yet. You too. What do you think of Meghan and Harry? Share your thoughts in the comment section.